Hey everybody, it's Trigger Bar Philosopher. Welcome back to the tabletop. Today we're going to be talking about the AAC ammunition. I did a short on this recently. We're going to try to get to the bottom of it. How is this ammo fitting into the PSA Rock? I have two different barrels. And how does it fit in with the M&P 5.7? Welcome back. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button, and I'll also catch you up if you're also new to the channel and haven't been following any of my series on the 5.7 by 28, the PSA Rock or the M&P. I've had a fair number of issues with the PSA Rock. It's actually had to go back to the factory once. That was probably due to ammo that was popping primers, but I also it's had its striker assembly replaced twice now, once due to damage with the screws that came with the Sun mount because they went too deep and broke apart the assembly. I'll put a link to that. And then once from dead primers popping and getting into the assembly. Other than that, I've also had a fair number of rounds that just have had some rounds get stuck in the barrel, and I've had problems with that. And I've been thinking, and you know, one of the things that's come out recently is that AAC ammunition has come out with just some fabulous ammunition and some really low prices, which is awesome. Most people, when they think of 5.7, they think of paying $1, $2, $3 a round for the cartridge, and you certainly can still do that if you don't go to the right places. But more often now, it's starting to use Fiocchi you can get for close to 50, 60 cents a round. You often get the AAC ammunition for close to that. And so you can start to get something that appears to be, you know, on the order of 45 ACP or some other cartridges. And so, and I think over time, more and more manufacturers come out with options for this platform. You're going to see a lot more manufacturers of ammunition coming out, different types, and we'll see that price continue to go down. But what I'm here going to talk about today is I have had reliability issues with the PSA Rock and this AAC ammunition. I may have had one or two with the M&P 5.7. It's not determined that that was the ammo. I definitely didn't have the same problems that I had with the Rock. And one of the problems is I get stuck. I've had to stop shooting because I could not get a round to eject. It just got stuck in the chamber and the extractor wouldn't get it out. And so I had to either go home and pop it out with a different rod or just get a pair of pliers if I had something to sort of force it out. And then I've had some other weird issues with stovepiping and other things, and I'm not exactly sure what all of those issues are. So that leads me to doing some case gauge checking. So I have a case gauge from Sheridan Engineering, and I have a case gauge from Elite Ammunition. And the two case gauges definitely do ammunition very different. Here is a 40 grain VMAX AAC ammunition, and going into the case gauge from Elite Ammunition, and that's where it goes. You know, that's fairly good tapping on it, and it's kind of stuck there. By the way, this one was stuck or caused a malfunction in my gun. Rather than trying to shoot it again, I just put it in my pocket and wanted to check it out. So here it is in the Sheridan Engineering one. A little bit tight, but it fits in. Let's take another look at one. This one over here, when you drop it in, tap it, it's still sticking out. Even if you tap it a fair amount, it's sticking out, and it's just getting more and more stuck in there. So this may fire, right? If you get a strong force of your slide pushing it back in, you may be able to shove it in. See, I just shoved it in. I'm gonna have to get something to get it out now. It may extract and it may work. I actually just went to the range and tested some of this ammo that I thought was bad with the PSA Rock, and I'll run that footage now. Categories. So I've got ammunition over here on the right that just falls right in and falls right out of the case gauge. No problems. I should have no problems running that ammo, and so that's our control group. I have some other ammunition that you put in initially, and we'll just do a little test of it. You put in initially, and it kind of almost gets there, and a little push and it's in, right? And so, and it's kind of a little bit hard to get out, so you gotta push it out with another round here. Just a little tap and it comes out, right? So that's our maybe round. And then these are our known bads, right? They won't go in no matter what force you put in. I guess you probably could and you'd get it stuck forever, but it just really won't go in. So We have several rounds over here. We have our maybes, we have our yeses, we have our nos. So let's take a quick look at what happens when we shoot those rounds. We have our first mag loaded up with the control group. Again, these all fit in the case gauge. They also would then therefore fit in the Sheridan engineering case gauge. So these should be good to go. These are my first shots out of the PSA Rock with this ammunition. All right, all those ran just fine. Okay, we've got the maybes line loaded up, and let's shoot the maybes. Maybes all fired great. And the nose. The nose all fired. Okay, well, as you can see, all of that ammunition, the good, the bad, and the maybe all just ran just fine. And that's about what I've seen. Is I've seen one mag, of this stuff, or one box of the stuff will work great, but one box won't. So really what I wanted to test is maybe, I've been having some comments and discussions with Shasta Bean, who has a great channel on the 5.7. Highly recommend you go to his channel. I'll try to put a link up in the card for one of his latest videos on the 5.7 testing. And then Buffman Range, which is, very popular. He is sort of the king of the 5.7. And they just talking with them, and they saying, it could be something that my barrel is out of spec. And then also just questioning how does this relate to the M&P 5.7. So what I have here is I have a regular case, and I've never really had a single failure with the Federal American Eagle ammunition, which uses the case from FN. And so what I want to do, and just kind of check that it works just fine in the Elite, and it works just fine in the other one. And so we're just going to look at it in each of these barrels. Okay, so here is the one that I've shot the most, is my threaded barrel, and we'll just drop that in and see kind of where it lands. I'm not sure how close or zoomed in we can get. I may have to get a picture of some of these. And let's see if you can notice here, there's just a little bit of the case sticking out. If we push that in a little bit harder, yeah, it's kind of stuck in there. All right. So now let's test this one in this round, in this gauge. You can see when you drop it in, there's still just a little bit showing, versus when you drop this one in it, there's nothing showing. Right, meaning from where the tapers back into that case, there's really nothing showing there. I'll try to show it again. There's just a little bit showing. This is in both of my PSA Rock barrels, but let's take a look at how these things look in the M&P barrel. Right, so there's the side profile of the M&P barrel, and then here's the side profile of the Rock. It goes definitely a bit deeper into or all the way in, and looks to be the same. So I think these just have a little bit looser tolerance on them in the PSA Rock. And and like I said, when the slide goes back and forth, it applies some pressure to push these in. And sometimes that works great and allows it to fire and doesn't have any misfires. Other times it gets stuck in there, and I definitely have had a couple of those. So I think that, again, I think that what we're seeing is that it's quite ironic, because AAC's parent company is the same as the Palmetto State Armory parent company. So these are really the same two companies. And ironically, these rounds are awesome rounds, but they work the worst in the company that made the rounds, right? In the company's guns. They work the worst in the Rock. So just something to be aware of. I still think, because of the cost, it's still worth buying. Don't depend your life on it. Probably don't go hunting with these rounds, but certainly range, and just be aware that out of the Rock you could have, probably in the order of 5% type things, some failures, maybe even less than that, but it will be higher than what you would see on other platforms. And I've heard from others that their PS90, that their Rugers, other FN's guns just work really fine in this, and they don't see that problem. So I wanted to clarify a little bit from that video what it's at. These rounds definitely will fire, but I definitely have seen a bit of an increase in failure rate, and I think I'm understanding why, is it looks like these chambers are just a little bit tighter, smaller, and at least the one other sample that I have, which is the M&P 5.7. So let me know what you think. Please put your comments in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. I appreciate everybody's support and have a great day.